All right, welcome back to another episode of From the Source with Dr. Gary, where we cut through the noise, we find the source, and simplify the solution so we can help you live a life that's better, stronger, and healthier. So, our last episode, we dove into the topic of the nervous system. That's pillar number one, the master system in the body that controls every cell, tissue, and organ. Everything. We literally live our lives through the nervous system. That is the most important system that we need to target regularly to keep it finely tuned and coordinating the body the way that it was supposed to, the way that it's designed to. We're designed to be healthy. So the nervous system's the master system. That's pillar number one. Today we move into pillar number two, food sensitivities and inflammation. This might be one of the most overlooked reasons why so many people continue to struggle with things like fatigue and brain fog, bloating, joint pain, skin issues, autoimmune flare-ups, and stubborn weight loss resistance. Even when they believe they're eating a healthy diet, they're doing a healthy lifestyle, they're making good healthy choices, but nothing's changing. Frustration for us results from unmet expectations. We're trying to put our best foot forward, doing right things that we at least think are right things, but we're not getting the results we want. So it's important to understand that healthy foods can still cause problems in the body. One of the most important truths in functional nutrition or functional medicine is this: healthy food is only healthy if your body can tolerate it. A food that might be nutritious in general might challenge your immune system. If your body's reacting to it, that food becomes a source of inflammation. That inflammation can silently affect virtually every system in the body. That's why one of my favorite sayings is one person's medicine is another person's poison. So let's dive into inflammation here for a second, because inflammation is not the enemy, it's protection. Remember, we've got two systems in our body. We've got that growth, repair, healing side, and that survival, that defense, that fight or flight side in that nervous system, okay? If the body is working in survival, protection, right? Fight or flight mode, that inflammation results as protection as well. It's your body's intelligent response to stress, injury, perceived threats, or repeated toxins. The problem begins not from short-term inflammation, okay, but it begins when that inflammation becomes chronic. Your immune system gets triggered meal after meal, day after day, month after month. The body never fully settles down, and over time, that hidden inflammation can interfere with digestion, energy production, hormone balance, joint health, brain function, weight regulation, and your immune system function. Now, important to note with this topic, there are food allergies and food sensitivities. What we're addressing here are food sensitivities. Most people are familiar with classic food allergies. They're immediate reactions involving IgE antibodies, and they can cause hives, swellings, and even an anaphylactic reaction that becomes life-threatening. That's where the EpiPen comes in. We're not talking about those. We're talking about food sensitivities. These are different. They're often associated with IgG antibodies and tend to produce delayed reactions. So you could eat a food today, have exposure today, but not experience symptoms until hours or even days later. And this is where it gets frustrating. The delay makes them extremely difficult to identify without doing proper testing. So there's common symptoms where it comes to food sensitivities. They can contribute to, as mentioned previously, fatigue, brain fog, that lack of clear thinking, bloating, gas, constipation after eating certain foods, diarrhea, joint pain, migraines, sinus congestion, skin issues, anxiety and mood changes, weight loss resistance, even autoimmune symptoms. Living in our current state, in our current nation, in our current approach of Western medicine, we are raised in a culture that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If there's no symptoms, I must be healthy. And when there are symptoms, we wage war on the body. We chase the symptoms and never look to get to the root cause. I hope, I pray that is changing. But if we don't work on getting to root cause, if you think about those symptoms that I just listed off, there's a pill, potion, or magical lotion for every one of them that you can buy over the counter. And when that doesn't work, there's a prescription, right? We want to get away from doing that because by treating the effects, you never get to the cause of the problem. That thing will always rear its ugly head again. We want to get to the root cause. So listen, if you've been doing things right with your diet, you think you're doing a healthy lifestyle, but you don't feel your best still, this may be a major missing piece for you, this food sensitivity test. So let's give an analogy with this. Think of your body like a bucket. Every stressor adds a little water to it. Poor sleep, emotional stress, environmental toxins, processed and ultra-processed foods, nutrient deficiencies, foods your body is unknowingly reacting to. At first, the bucket handles it, no problem, but eventually it overflows. That overflow of water are when the symptoms begin. The food itself may not be the only problem, but it's the final drop that pushes your system beyond its capacity to adapt. So how do we test for these foods? We do an IgG food sensitivity test instead of guessing. So at the source, we use advanced ELISA-based IgG food sensitivity testing to evaluate about 100 different foods. ELISA stands for Enzyme-Linked Immunosorbent Assay. The lab method allows us to measure how strongly your immune system may be reacting to these specific foods. The results are reported. You get graded on each food in a zone from 0 to 4. Zone 0 is that there's no measurable reactivity in your body. Have as many of them as you want. Zone 1, mild reactivity. Zone 2, moderate reactivity. Zone 3, high reactivity. And Zone 4 is very high reactivity. And yes, even foods that are considered healthy, such as eggs, almonds, dairy, chicken, spinach, avocados, beef, I can go on, they can show up as reactive for you. As a healthy individual, if you don't know what those foods are, you're trying to make good choices, you're trying to do a healthy lifestyle, but guess what? The body's reacting to those things. So how do we apply the results? Once we have those results, we now look at those areas of reactivity, and the zones 1 to 2 are typically removed for several weeks. We remove them from the diet. If they're very low, we may be able to rotate them in a couple times a week. But again, depending on your history and what's going on, we might completely remove them from the diet for up to 3 months. Now, zones 3 and 4, these get more reactive in the body, so we have to be more cautious with these. These tend to get removed approximately 3 to 6 months or longer, depending on the symptoms and your progress. This gives the immune system time to calm down, inflammation time to decrease, and the gut time to heal. The goal is not to have to avoid these foods forever. This is not a forever thing. The goal is restoration of proper function. So the reason we remove these reactive foods is that the immune system gets to have a break. The immune system's triggered and reacting to what's going on with the food intake. So we do this for 3 important reasons. Number 1, we remove the foods to give the gut a break. Every time you eat a reactive food, your digestive system has to deal with the resulting immune response. Removing those foods gives your gut time to rest, repair, and heal. The second reason we do this is to take the stress off the immune system. If your immune system is constantly reacting to foods, it remains on high alert. By removing the triggers, we allow the immune system to calm down. And the third reason we take this approach, the third reason is to reduce inflammation. Reactive foods can act as a chronic source of hidden inflammation. When we remove them, inflammatory burden often decreases significantly. And when those 3 things happen, the body can begin to function the way it was designed to. Remember, designed to be healthy, designed to heal, repair, adapt, and thrive for a lifetime. So part of the process that we go through with our clients and our patients with this is we use a simple at-home test. It's a urine test called the UR-Oxy oxidative stress test. It measures cellular inflammation. We can determine at a simple test at home that's 50 times more accurate than a blood test how inflamed the body is. We typically will repeat this test every 30 days, and what normally starts out as a very high score on the UR-Oxy test we'll see gradually come down over that period of time as we're cleaning up the diet and making healthier choices. So we often repeat this, like I said, every 30 days during the functional reset, so we can objectively monitor the progress. Instead of hoping you're improving, right? Crossing our fingers and hoping we can actually measure what's happening in the body. One of my favorite books on this topic of food sensitivities, are your hidden food allergies making you fat? This book right here, tremendous wealth of information and resource that does a deeper dive into this topic we're talking about. It does an excellent job explaining how delayed food reactions can contribute to weight gain, cravings, inflammation, fatigue, and digestive problems. For those of you who are listening on audio and you don't have video to see this book, Your Hidden Food Allergies Are Making You Fat, How to Lose Weight and Gain Years of Vitality. The author, Rudy Rivera, MD, and Roger Davis. Great book, great read. Now, the people that do this, that take this approach, that get the testing done, that follow the recommendations, when hidden inflammatory foods are removed, people frequently report digestion improving, better digestion almost immediately, less bloating after meals, more energy, clearer thinking, reduced joint pain and aches, improved sleep, easier weight loss. I have clients following these recommendations that their goal wasn't even weight loss, but as a side effect of making these changes, they're getting to a healthier weight. Very white eyes, clear skin, like they look healthy. That you can tell when you look at somebody, their eyes, their skin color, their nails, you can tell someone's health by looking at them. And we're having some amazing results. Not because we're treating symptoms, but because we're removing a major source of stress in the body. The big idea here is that you cannot supplement your way out of a food reaction. Sometimes the answer is not adding more. The answer is removing what doesn't belong. Food should nourish the body, not challenge your immune system. And we have way too many opportunities with that today with fast foods, processed and ultra-processed foods. If this episode and what I'm going through with the food sensitivities is resonating with you, if you've been eating healthy, taking supplements, and doing all the right things, but still not feeling your best, it might be time to stop guessing. So at The Source, we offer the IgG food sensitivity testing along with a personalized results review, custom food plan. This is one of the most powerful first steps in uncovering hidden sources of inflammation and creating a nutrition plan tailored specifically for your body. Because what is healthy for one person may not be healthy for the next person. You can learn more by visiting the link in the show notes, link.bio/The Source, to learn more about the testing. Now, I don't want you to guess with your health. When you guess, you start throwing a whole bunch of things, everything but the kitchen sink at the problem, and you get overwhelmed, you get confused, you don't get the results that you want, or if you do get results, you have no idea what worked. So you don't have to guess, you can test, you can measure, and you can build a plan based on what your body's telling us. In the next episode, we're going to move into pillar number 3, nutrient deficiencies. Nutrient deficiencies, how we measure them, how we restore them. But think of the nutrient deficiencies like this. You could have the most perfect engine in a car, truck, whatever your dream machine is, but if it's missing the spark plugs, that engine's not going anywhere. So the best diet won't help if your body's missing the raw materials, the spark plugs that it needs to function and heal. That's where the nutrient deficiencies come in. We're going to tell you, we'll go over how we test for those things and how we restore them. That also helps us with something that I call the minimum effective dose, so that we can reduce and eliminate the number of supplements and capsules that you're taking every day. So remember this, your body is smart. It's designed to be healthy. It's constantly adapting to the environment through its nervous system. What your food and inputs are will help determine how well it can thrive, how well it can heal, how well it can repair, if we test and don't guess. If we find the source and we simplify the solution, you get better, stronger, and healthier. Have a blessed day. Until next time, Dr. Gary.